What's the deal, baby? Y'all know it is the big boss, how boss dog K-Po through the dope. Here to talk to us boxing. So we're here to talk about Terrence Crawford and how he fought a whole bunch of in-house fights at 140, okay, to become undisputed at 140. All right. So, and the reason why I'm making this video is because there's a lot of y'all who are ridiculing Errol Spence for fighting the easier fights that can be made. I gotta make that clear. The easier fights that can be made with PBC instead of going outside the pond to try to fight. You know what I mean? Because a lot of y'all sitting there saying, "Oh, Errol Spence took the easier route. He fought the easier fights." How are they easier fights when some of the fighters that Errol Spence fought were top fighters at the time? Some of them were on the pound for pound list. So how can they be easier fights? But we're gonna talk about it. So Terrence Crawford at the time was signed to Top Rank when he was at 140 pounds. Terrence Crawford fought, I want to believe, Thomas Delorme for the WBO belt. I think it was a vacant one at the time. He beat Thomas Delorme, got that belt, right? Then he fights Thierry Jean, right? I guess he's defending that title because Thierry Jean, he beats Thierry Jean. Okay, so he fought Thierry Jean, he fought Felix Diaz, which at that time, that was after he won the WBC belt with Victor Postal. So he fought Hank Lundy. Okay, only guy who was a PBC fighter was Felix Diaz, but he wasn't a champion, right? The guys who are champions, I don't believe Thomas Delorme was a champion. I could be wrong. Y'all correct me, but I think they fought. Like I said, I think they fought for a vacant belt. The only guy I believe that was a champion was Victor Postal, who was not a PBC fighter, and then Ndongo, who had the rest of the belts, who ain't fighting America, right? So he did not fight any PBC fighter who had a belt at 140. Now, granted, at that time, I don't think nobody had a belt. I could be wrong, and maybe some PBC fighters had secondary belts. I don't know. You know what I mean? Because, you know, the WBA, they have the super champion, the light, the regular champion, and all that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So maybe a PBC fighter had one of them belts. But one thing I know, two things for sure, Terrence Crawford did not fight anybody outside of Top Rank, okay, who was on the PBC side. Bob Arum worked with his friends. So Victor Postal, I don't know who his representation is. I know he ain't signed no damn PBC. You know what I'm saying? Bob Arum was not working with no Al Heyman. Okay? Bob Arum will work with Al Heyman if it's a lot of money on the line, because a lot of y'all going to be trying to bring up that damn, oh, Wilder Fury. There was a lot of money on the line. A lot of people could do anything for money. That's why you see people who kill people, if they got a lot of money, they out on bond. Unless there's so much of a public outroar to the point where they just like, all right, there's no dollar amount to get this, to keep this dude in jail. Money talk, bro. Money make people do anything. That's just real talk. You come with the right dollar amount and somebody gonna do anything. Stuff they said they would never do, they gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is, bro. We just keeping it a stat. You can't sit here and tell me that that's not the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like, but nobody ridiculed Terrence Crawford for that. Everybody gave him praise. Oh, Terrence Crawford is the best. I even gave him the praise. Terrence Crawford was the best at 140 at that time. I even gave him that praise. I was excited when he won his belt at 140. You know what I'm saying? But Errol Spence is basically following the same model, doing the same thing. That's what it is. They just doing the same thing. Al Heyman working with guys who want to work with him. You know what I'm saying? Why should he work with Bob Arum who don't want to work with him? And then really, Al Heyman don't really have any issues sending. He sent Sean Porter to ESPN to fight Terrence Crawford. You know what I mean? He's done that with a list of fighters. So like I said, at the end of the day, like, we got to kill all this noise about Errol Spence so-called taking the easy route. You know what I mean? He went the route he went because it was easier to make the fights happen. Instead of me sitting here negotiating and we going back and forth because you feel like you should get paid this and blah, 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 and all this other stuff. When the guys on PBC, they know. They know what they're going to get paid, or they know, like, okay, because they've been at every fight. They've been at every fight. They know the numbers. They know what you're doing. Why? Because it's in-house. You see what I'm saying? I don't know what numbers you're doing if you're on another promotional company. Unless it's just released. And everybody, like, don't release their numbers. Like the Zone. The Zone don't release their stuff. Sometimes ESPN don't release their numbers. You see what I'm saying? So, what are we getting at here? And how do you know those numbers are true? The numbers they point out, unless you actually see, the paperwork. You see who bought what and who attended the fight and all that. You see what I'm saying? But to get back on topic, nobody's really killing Bud Crawford. Nobody sat there and said, man, Bud, he's going to Israel. Even when he moved up to 147, right? He moved up to 147. What was his first fight? He had an opportunity. Go back, man, let me tell you something. Go back and watch True Boxing Talk, Black Fight Fan TV. He had an interview with Bomac from years ago. They sat there and said, we could have fought Errol Spence. We could have went the IBF route, but we chose to go the route that we went to fight Jeff Horn. It's out there. I'm not trying to hear none of that stuff y'all talking about, man. And this is not to discredit Terrence Crawford to say that, oh, he's ducking Errol Spence. No. Nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying none of that stuff. Nobody's saying he sucked. Nobody's saying he's a horrible fighter. We just pointing out the facts of the fact of the matter is that even when he went up to 147, he was still fighting in-house fights. He fought Jeff Horn. Why did he fight Jeff Horn? Because that was an easier fight to make. But everybody knew what was going to happen to Jeff Horn. Everybody knew what was going to happen. That boy was done. They set that boy up. That boy was done, man. He wasn't going to be a champion that long. Bud fought him. We already knew. I going into that fight, I said, man, Bud finna baptize this boy. Jeff Horn was all confident and all, man. That boy, all right. like Blueface say, yeah, all right. Bud gave him that work. So like I say, man, he made that fight happen. Why? Because that's an in-house fight. It's easier to make. Right? He fought Amir Khan. Easier fight to make. Like, bro, he didn't really fight too many guys on PBC. I think the only PBC fighter he fought at 147 was Sean Porter. So like I said before, man, like, and I'm not saying he ducked. I'm just saying, like, you got to understand there's politics in this thing. You got to understand there's politics. That's just reality. Bob Arum ain't willing to work with Al Heyman, especially if he don't see that Terrence Crawford is a pay-per-view star. He's even said that. And then he also said that Terrence Crawford never asked for the big fights. He's never asked. All this stuff is public record that he said these things. That's the beautiful thing about YouTube. You can go back and watch and listen to what somebody says. He said that Terrence Crawford never asked me for this. He's never asked me for this. Now, one thing that happens, I don't know if y'all know, when y'all get older, you get more honest. Me, I'm in my 30s. And the older I get, the more honest I get. I ain't got time to be playing games and all that bull crap. I don't got time for that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Bob Arum, I think, is in his 80s. He definitely ain't got time. He an old Jewish white dude. That motherfucker ain't got no time for no games. He ain't finna waste nobody time. This motherfucker gonna say what he wanna say. That's the age where he at. So I don't think, Bob Arum is capping because he's sitting there saying, Bud never asked me for this. Bud never asked me for that. That motherfucker was talking shit about Bud when Bud was signed to him. Bud was signed to this boy. He was saying, man, Bud is not a pay-per-view star. He's just not. I thought that was ludicrous. I was like, what the fuck? But, hey, that's what he was doing. That's what he decided to do. He sat there and was like, look, Bud not a pay-per-view star. He stood on that. So the reason why a lot of these fights and Bud's resume isn't what it is it's partially his fault. But majority of the fault is Bob Arum. But for y'all to sit here and try to ridicule Errol Spence because he fought top fighters that all work with PBC, it's crazy. Y'all remember, Bud had that opportunity. He had the opportunity to go either sign with PBC or sign with either type of company or go represent himself, whatever the case is, to work alongside PBC to get these fights. He didn't do that. Bud decided to do his own thing and re-sign with Top Rank because he felt like in his mind, this is the best way. I'm gonna make these fights happen. So it don't work like that, brother. But yet again, like I said before, Errol Spence is getting ridiculed for fighting guys who are signed to the same brand that he's on. It's ludicrous. It's crazy. But Bud basically did the same thing. Nobody talking about that. Nobody's talking about that. You know what I'm saying? Bud at 145, Felix Diaz, who I would say was being represented by PBC. He fought a lot of his fights on PBC. At 140. At 147, I think the only PBC fighter Bud fought was Sean Porter. All the rest of his fights were against guys who were assigned to other companies that was an ally to Top Rank. Go look at who these dudes were signed to. I'm not trying to hear that stuff, bro. So if y'all gonna ridicule Errol, y'all need to ridicule Bud too. Boss gone.